The 56th Congressional Cup at Long Beach Yacht Club in California moved into its second phase, with a day full of controversy out on the water as the final four teams were decided, and thus began the battle for the podium places in the semifinals. With the remaining two flights of the round-robin qualifying stage decided, Chris Poole from the USA won his first match against France's Maxime Menil, and then took out Sweden's Yanni Berntsen in a must-win last match, doing just enough to clinch the final qualifying spot with an amazing comeback performance. The semifinals began in a building breeze with racing just off the famous Belmont Pier and spectators close up as these top-class teams kept the on-the-water umpires busy. Match 1 and the USA's Chris Poole had a penalty inflicted on them by Sweden's Yanni Berntsen, an advantage this experienced team were not likely to relinquish, going on to take the opening point in this first-to-3 wins match. In the other pairing, the USA's Taylor Canfield was late to start against Switzerland's #1, Erik Monen. The team Canfield had chosen to race, but he lost the opener as Monen maintained his lead all the way to the finish. The controversy erupted in match 2, where Monen was on the wrong end of a penalty incident in the pre-start and then made a mistake touching the windward mark as he rounded, receiving a second penalty and subsequently a black flag disqualification, handing this match to Canfield. And in the Poole-Berntsen match, there was contact between the boats in the pre-start, with the Swedish team receiving a penalty they couldn't shake off, allowing Poole to even the score. Match 3 saw the tables turned when another black flag incident set the event on fire, with Poole disqualified by the umpires after an intense luffing battle, as Yanni Berntsen and his all-star team took a 2-1 advantage. With the wind now lightening and shifting, yet another penalty incident in the third Canfield-Monen semifinal, this time on the American team, left them needing to draw on all their skill and experience to make their mandatory penalty turn while holding the Swiss team at bay behind them and going on to take victory and finish the day with the lead. Finally, in a tense fourth match, Chris Poole and his team came back again, seizing their chance. After both teams were over the start line early, they recovered to lead around the course, leaving their match tied at 2 wins each and all down to a winner-takes-all decider tomorrow for a place in the final. It's all to play for at the 56th Congressional Cup, with both matches finally poised, and with big crowds expected, it should prove to be yet another incredible chapter in the history of this famous event.
It's about whichever team makes the least mistakes, and it's okay if you don't win the start, but don't lose it, which means don't get shut out. Try to stay clean and just keep the race alive.
For sure. The for those viewing at home, and I'm hoping you guys see this too, we do have some onboard cameras, and we are now at 4:30 to the start. So 30 seconds to our entry here. We are watching Yanni and team.
You can see that they're actually trying to just get some speed and get close up, see what the angles are. See what that pressure to the right's coming down. You can see in the screen what that looks like.
So 5 seconds to enter. It's definitely not very windy, just windy enough. Pressing over the top of the committee boat, and now we've got a drone shot. Love this.
So yeah, with a light air entry, it makes it a little bit harder for the port boat to get out of jail. And of course, once they go head to wind, they will sit there for a lot longer and burn a lot more clock, which favors the starboard tack boat. But looking at the jib streaming there, that looks like decent breeze to me. I mean, it's not great, but it looks decent.
Yes, definitely, for sure.
Do you think the port boat completed its tack onto starboard?
So for me, that not at all important. They're staying clear, and for me, the port boat is it's about being bow forward, and obviously they can't drift into Johnny, but Johnny won't be looking. Johnny's looking to open up that lateral separation. Chris is looking to close it. So it looks like Chris has lost his bow. Johnny going the other way now. So we'll see who gets the speed build. I would expect Poole to build speed and then tack around in the light air.
I love
See a
that
few little waves.
that you say. So next to me is Mark Townsend, Scotty, and when you said, oh, it doesn't really matter if he got the tacked, and he laughed. The umpire always is going to laugh about that. And if you're looking in the screen here, we've got a blue penalty. So,
Well, yeah, I would say Mark Townsend is one of my good friends that knows too much. So yeah, he is very much at risk of giving away trade secrets. No, but the key is, so you can see Paul there. He kind of went on to starboard, but he is trying to close up that distance. It doesn't matter in that moment if he completes it. At some point, if it becomes close, he will complete it. Right now, it's Burnson controlling the action. I heard that, Mark Townsend.
oh man, that's awesome.
So one of the things I've noticed, Scotty, is you tend not to complete unless you're forced to, and I know that's one of your moves.
Okay, that was pretty.
So, mate,
good.
I might be in New. Up go the Spinnakers. I might be in New Zealand, but we do have this thing called fibre optic cable down here. So yeah.
That is beyond funny. That is awesome. We thought his mic was dead. Okay, so kites are up. Again, we did not see this yesterday at all, or the last 4 days of racing. We never saw kites in the pre-start, but you know, we're much lighter. It's a move that these guys are going to use to get back down into the box and be able to be in the playground and go right up next to that pier, which all of us have become very comfortable with in the last couple of days. Oh, so right over the top of the committee boat, too. Go ahead, Scotty.
So it's interesting there that Paul's main trimmer kind of pulled the main on, cleated it, and ran forward. And again, it's these manoeuvres that become very team intensive. And if you're sailing with 6 people, there's not enough to go around. But about 35 seconds to go now, and is Paul going to run out of runway there? Johnny pushing hard.
Yeah, Pool's at risk here.
And of course, the boat behind right now is in the bad air, so the acceleration is just going to be so slow.
So this will be okay for Paul here because he reached down over Johnny's ear. So I've got about 5 seconds to go there. I think. That must have been the start. So. Yeah, so Johnny to windward, in control and in phase with his opponent, but he's still building speed. So Paul tacking now. So it was an okay start for Paul because he had speed, but at some point he's going to have to do the double tack like right now, but it is a split start. So although Paul's behind, Johnny not quite able to cover at the moment.
And this is where we get into that point of that there's not enough breeze to really throw the boats around like they could in the last couple of days. You have to really focus on that acceleration out of the tacks before you make your next move.
Yeah, and a little bit surprised there at how soon after Paul tacked away Johnny tacked. I'd be surprised if he was up to speed. And again, in this air, it takes twice as long to get up to speed as you think it does. So, but Johnny willing to give away a little bit of his advantage there in order to be in phase with his opponent. And without seeing to win it, I'll have to say some of the drone shots super useful. You can see the puffs and the shifts, and man, if we all had a drone, we'd be much better sailors.
Yeah, I know, right? It does make it look easy. We're just going to switch the video over to Scotty. We're switching the video over to the pre-start. We're in the dial-up here for the next race. We can see Canfield on the left and Monin on the right.
And just confirmation, Scotty, the penalty, just got word from the umpires, penalty was not keeping clear. Not keeping clear. And while he was tacking, so he didn't complete the tap.
Katie, sharp eye there, spotting it.
I've been done by that one.
Was that on Paul?
Correct.
That was on Paul, yeah. Didn't complete the tap. Did your move and got dinged for it.
I move.
We usually have sharp eyes spot them when they come at you.
So yeah, number one is always keep clear. So it's Canfield with his kite going up, and again, all he's interested there is closing up the lateral separation. Mona not matching at the moment, so you expect Taylor to keep reaching very high here. He will reach as hard as he can with the kite up to get the boat up to maximum speed, and then he will choose how to use that speed.
So when you say matching, what do you mean, Scotty?
Oh, I mean, not sure what I mean. In that case, yeah, you would expect Monin to have jived. Sorry, I'm just watching Taylor here, and again, Taylor is going from angle to angle with the spinnaker up, and he keeps his speed up, and that's how he gets his boat positioning advantage. And now he jives back around, so now Taylor is claiming the right side. So interesting in the first match, Johnny was clearly defending the left side of the racetrack. He wants to go left on the first leg. So now it's a question of whether Taylor is can get to the pin in time.
Yeah, we're looking at just about a minute to the start.
And generally in light air, you want to lead back, right? And so theoretically, Monin's got the advantage here, but if he gets too slow and Canfield, who is faster, gets closer enough to push him, then it becomes Canfield's race.
Yeah, so at the moment, I don't see Canfield pushing a lot. He's just kind of content to hang high because he knows once he starts pushing, gets into Monin's gas, then you're trying to accelerate with only half the horsepower. So I think Monin is owning the left from what I can see. But you're right, Katie. The general rule is lead back in light air, and the master of that was Russell Coots. And so about 20 seconds to go, Monin on the left. So he's got the side he wants. It's just a question of whether or not Canfield is far enough to windward, and I think you'll see it's a very even start. So what do we think the separation is there? About a boat length and a half. And you see Canfield tacking away immediately, and that's not because he was being affected necessarily at that time, but it means that he knew over time that was not he would start to be affected at some point. So I would say that's first blood to Monin.
Yeah, I would agree. That was a good start for him. And you know, the dangerous part for all competitors is that you stay there too long. Like you think, you know, oh, I'm hanging, I'm going to control him, and then you just slowly kind of slide into him, and then it's a slow death.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like you're sitting there hanging on to a ticking bomb, isn't it? Yeah. It's like, oh, wish I'd given this away a few minutes ago.
That's right. So now we're at the other match where Bernstein's ahead.
And we still have that
downwind
penalty up as well. Blue penalty still up for Poole behind. And definitely there's enough separation between the two that Poole can swing back and forth. It looks like you can see the drone shot now. You have two boat lengths in between them.
Yeah, so looking at that and looking at the angle of the boats coming downwind, I would say the left is probably going to have a little bit of pressure. And even though there's reasonable separation between them there, I would say you can see Bernstein reaching very hard to keep that slot open. So Poole's done a reasonable job here. And again, in light air, very difficult to defend both jibes effectively. You almost have to choose one or the other. So even though Johnny's got clear air on this jibe, you might expect Poole to have the advantage going back the other way.
And Scotty, you would pretty much have to do this where you're trying to get to one side and minimize the risk, right? I mean, because you're right, it's really tough to protect both sides.
Well, yeah, it is, and clearly Johnny was happy to match Paul going to the left, looking upwind, because he probably feels there's more pressure there, or maybe just wants to stay in sync with him. And again, Paul has a penalty, so maybe, yeah, it's again very, very difficult in light air. Paul not sailing a good angle there. You can see his kite hanging. This time Johnny extending a little bit further and getting some, Paul giving him some breathing room.
Yeah, a little bit surprising on that. Johnny coming back now though, and Poole trying to get them on opposite jibes.
Yeah, I saw the similar thing yesterday with you know, some of the lesser experienced skippers. They'd be right there on the tail of the good guys and giving them a hard time, and then they would split away thinking they're going to try and find some magical puff that 6 or 7 sets of eyes on the other boat haven't seen. And at this level, it just doesn't work that way, and that's why we have match racing.
That's right. When you always think you see something that the other team doesn't, right?
Yeah, exactly. You can see Johnny's main trimmer there, just scanning the horizon downwind. He's looking, and yeah, and to me, and drone shots. That'd be a nice weapon to have my arsenal next year, I think. With the you know, drone footage on my iPhone in my pocket. But it just looks like a very a fairly even race course and pretty even breeze. I mean, possibly more pressure on the left, but I'm saying there's no big telltale puffs here or there.
Right, so here we go. We're going to the first rounding of the leeward mark. Johnny's ahead, taking the left mark, and Poole is going to take the right mark. So they'll be heading out to other areas of the course.
So my question there would be, did Johnny choose to turn left at the bottom, or did Poole actually roll over that side? So that to me looks like a much closer race than the first leg, and Poole is going to the left, which you know, at the moment my gut feeling is the left is going to be pretty good. So it'd be interesting to see this next cross here. I would expect Poole to be within a boat length either way.
Agree. They look like they're in pretty good pressure. And
For
Johnny was pretty...
For you guys, while you're commentating about this race, you can hear your watch is still going. It shows that you guys are very focused on the race. And, we've got the continual countdown going.
Yeah, and if I was helming right now, that would be driving me nuts.
Right? Exactly. It's so funny. I was thinking that. I'm like, I would think that you would be on it and be like, we need to be quiet and focused.
Shh.
Good catch, Molly.
So here comes Paul's tack now, and it looks like he's on the edge of some decent pressure there, but Johnny's got a nice rotation. I think this is pretty close. Man, I've done some long distance commentating before, but never from 8,000 miles away, that's for sure.
Just getting an update. Obviously, we're coming in close to a crossing, but an update on the rounding at the top. Monin rounded ahead.
Ah, so that left played out.
Yeah, Paul a lot closer there, and obviously he's going to tack out of that situation, but I would say they're within about a boat length, which means Paul will be maybe in a good position to pounce on the final downwind. Oh, this is interesting now, isn't it? So hard to
yeah. Go ahead, Scotty.
Hard to tell if Canfield's overlapped there. I would say he's probably just clear ahead. They look reasonably close to the leeward gates. But this is where Canfield almost gets the choice. Oh no, a bit of separation, boat length and a half. But they do have a jibe to do, so expect Canfield to jibe and roll here. Here comes Paul. Watch for a dial down here, because I think Paul's very close. Boy, they are a lot closer. So Johnny will tack clear in front, but Yeah, there's less than a boat length than that, half a boat length. And are they on ley line? So, okay, so Paul trying to get the... Oh, he's got a hook. So Johnny has to keep clear. No, Johnny rolling over the top now. So, yeah, a little bit of an experience there from Paul. Yeah, you either know 10 seconds before that happened if you're going to pull it off, and if you don't, it's a slow death in his gas, and that's what we're seeing now. Now he tacks away, and this whole time Paul's been slow. So even though he was very close there, that's going to be a massive loss to Paul the next time they come together. So I don't know if that was... yeah, I don't know if Paul can hear the commentary, but it looked like he gave the camera a dirty look there.
Oh, so close. And tempting, but it's also just that difference in breeze, you know, that makes the difference.
Yeah, it's hard to get the scoop, right? For sure. The downwind kites is also, it's a pretty close, they're closing the distance between each other for these guys coming downwind towards the gate. They're getting closer than they were at their last shot.
Yeah, so again, in light air, you can trail around the top mark by a larger margin and still be able to affect the lead boat, but you've got to be around 4 to 6 boat lengths maybe. And my guess is Paul is right on that range right now. See Johnny reaching into the top mark with a lot of speed. Yeah, so my guess is Johnny's ahead by about 20-22 seconds, something like that.
So if we could switch the camera, there's actually pretty exciting things happening down at the bottom here. We have not rounded the leeward mark. And we have, I am guessing we're going to see some flags flying.
Oh yeah, late
there we go.
Jib up.
Right here. I just scanned in, I can see a yellow with a red.
Which is Monin. So it was Monin came out of that ahead, but the umpires are saying...
Sorry about it. We got a yellow. Yep, yellow with a red.
Yeah. So Monin coming out on top, but the umpire's saying, that's... You got there in a way you didn't deserve to, so he has to do his penalty immediately. So he will want to get clear of the mark in 2 boat lengths, and here he goes now.
Okay, so just to give you another, I don't know, we just got a second yellow penalty. Yesterday, Monin received a black flag for having 2 penalties and not spinning immediately. There was a big debate. Monin believed that he was doing everything he can to do it as fast as possible, so I'm imagining there's some words being spoken to each other out there on the water.
So interesting, he did his red flag circle, and I don't know what the second one was for. I hope it wasn't from not doing it immediately. Maybe Mark Townsend's got something to add on that. But he did his first exoneration, and I was surprised to see him go straight into the second one because that just gives him a bigger deficit to claw back now.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure what that penalty was. We're just trying to get hold of the umpires. Find out what penalty was. And interesting that Monin took a second penalty when he could have delayed it. Put him behind a little bit further, but we are just trying to get the umpires for the media call, and we'll let you know in a second.
My guess from when we jumped into seeing the video feed, and all of you on the pier would probably be yelling at me if I'm right or wrong, but it looked like Taylor had room to round at the gate, and Monin obviously didn't think that.
So now would be a good time to switch back to the other match.
Yep, exactly. They are right now. Here we go. We're looking at each other sailing downwind. We can see our main trimmer.
I see Burnson not looking back very often, so that tells me he's probably quite relaxed, even by Johnny's standards.
Yep, just making the race to the finish right now. No unforced errors.
And again, that just comes from that one moment where Paul came in, thought he could get the hook on Johnny, and missed it by maybe 6 inches. but then sat there too long, and then that turned into the deficit that you see now, which just gives Johnny breathing room. So it's well sailed by Johnny.
Yeah, very well sailed. But it really, again, it highlights this light air. You know, you think you've got a piece of somebody, you go for an aggressive move, and then it can make you pay. And so this race was the do or die race, and Poole's going to be out.
Yeah, light air. So
go ahead, Scotty.
I was just going to say, light air is so tricky. You just have to think that much further ahead, do the speed builds that much longer, and again, it's are you going to come out of this situation on top in 30 seconds from now? That's so you have to have a bigger crystal ball than normal.
That's right. Well, this is exciting. Johnny Bernstein into the finals. We'll see who he will be facing soon enough.
Yeah, looking at the other race, that's still obviously like high fives all around. It's a big sigh of relief right there for sure. Knowing when you've advanced. Yeah, look at that.
Nice job, Johnny.
Cool. The results on the other match that is still going on. Canfield sitting with 2 wins and Monin with 1, and obviously we saw those penalties. So first to 3, kind of thinking we know what's going to happen, but
yeah, do we know what? Have we heard from the umpires, Mark?
I think Mark's getting a.
So the penalty at the mark was for.
Oh.
So the penalty at the leeward mark was for failure to keep clear under Rule 10, which is port starboard, and the red flag was added because he gained an advantage, and then didn't get word of why the second penalty was there, but I think it might have been not taking it immediately. He did sail a little bit up that leg and didn't take a penalty. He got the penalty at the gate. He has to get outside the zone before he can take a penalty, but haven't heard words of why they got the second penalty.
Interesting. So port starboard was the first one. He gained an advantage out of it, so got a spin, and we don't know exactly why he got the second.
That's right. Not sure why he got the second. We'll get word from the
basically he got his pre-start penalty, got up to the windward mark and tagged the windward mark by accident, so unforced error. So the 2 penalties up, and in his view, he started to spin, but it wasn't immediate according to the umpires. And I'm thinking that's what this one was, and I'm sure there's going to be another, who knows, a debate, right? Why did that happen? So.
Yeah, and one of the things I know I've talked to Scotty about, and a couple of times Scotty is always looking, and the top match race is looking on controlling the other boat rather than trying to get a penalty. Any thoughts on that, Scotty?
Sorry, I lost your audio there for a moment, Mark, but I think you're talking about Monen's second penalty at the bottom, Mark.
Yeah, it was more on control. Match races,
yeah,
you always tell me you're looking for control rather than trying to get penalties.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And if you get a penalty, great. And the umps will agree that no one likes to put it in the umpire's hands. And skippers are human, the teams are human, the umpires are human. And if you ask the umpires for a decision, they are probably they obviously have a different perspective. They look at it from a different point of view. And so unless you've got all your ducks in a row and you're going to get the call, then you don't go for the penalty. But the most important thing is that you come out of that situation in control or ahead of your opponent, or at least not being controlled. So if you're going for a penalty and that's your last-ditch effort, and that's a little bit like what we saw with Paul on the Windward Beat. He went for the hook, missed it, didn't get it, and now he comes out horribly behind and with no chance to recover.
Yeah, and that leeward hook in light airs rarely works. You've got to have quite a bit more breeze, from my experience, more in the sort of 12, 13, 14 range to get that hook going upwind.
Yeah, and it's very much a skipper's call. And like I said, when you're coming together like that, it's all about you have to be confident in your boat speed, and that's going to carry you through. But you have to make the call about 10 seconds before maybe 5 seconds before it's going to happen. But that's Taylor Canfield across the finish line, and that is your second finalist for the 2021 Congressional Cup.
Great racing by Taylor. They've just had a really good series and now capped it off with this race. And now they're going to be facing Johnny, who's sailing really well today.
Pretty awesome. These guys, again, super relaxed and happy to make it to the next step, and now getting ramped up for what's next. We have some on the water. Let's talk to Yanni when you're ready.
Race, which means start is really tricky. We managed to get a penalty on Chris and his team, so that was giving us just a little step in front. Also, we were pushing them a little late to the line, so they needed to do a void to being OCS over the starting line. So we had a good advantage after the start, and we managed to keep that around the course, and at the end extending it a little. So yeah, it was a good race for us, and yeah, we're happy to be through to the finals.
Amazing. And going through to the finals,
not getting
how
any
is your
audio on my
mentality
end.
looking?
On top. Of course. Well, I mean it's a struggle to get to the finals, and the finals is a bit releasing, but of course we're so intended to go all in and try to win another Crimson Blazer.
Well, good luck to you, and let's see how it goes.
Thank you.
Match racing, and Molly, I love your passion for it. It's so awesome when you get two boats trying to occupy the same space of water. That's why we have match racing and umpires. Now multiply that by 3, because instead of 2 boats, you've got 6 boats trying to take each other down. So I believe the umpires are very much still involved in the fleet race. So that even though it's very competitive, they just want to make sure people are sticking to the rules.
Yes, you're getting a thumbs up from Mark here, and we're looking at just those at home can know the timing. We're just at about 1:20 to the start.
Yeah, so we have a nice parade of people lining up their kind of positions that they'll be eyeballing for the start, and so it'll be interesting to see how aggressive some folks get here. You know, with a lot more Catalina 37s pushing for the same space of water, it could be interesting. Where would you start, Scotty?
I'd start by being on one of the boats, I think, as opposed to
Don't we always be
in my kitchen in New Zealand. So again, the orientation, I think, I'm guessing the left is still favoured. With a fleet race, you want the starboard advantage. So yeah, that's a good drone shot, isn't it? Looks a little bit hazy out there today, which means might take a little bit longer to burn off, and that keeps the left a little bit stronger.
Yeah, that left looking pretty good right now. I would be wanting that left quarter with some space to build speed. Oh, here we go. Getting close to the start.
So I'd say it looks like the boat second down from the boat end has had the best start. It's hard to see who that is, but they've definitely got a lot of speed and clear air and just mowing the fleet to leeward.
Yep, some people getting forced out now to the right. Now, interesting, the finalists will still be looking at what these boats' angles are, kind of thinking about what's happening for their match coming up.
Absolutely, and even just looking at that drone shot, you can see it's lighter towards the bottom of the screen, but up the top in between the two oil islands there's a bit more pressure, which is typical. So the boats going to the right here might be looking okay. And again, a lot of it depends on where the race committee have placed the top mark.
Yeah, it looks a little bit to the left. So those, I would start thinking those boats heading out left might end up tacking soon to take advantage of that pressure coming down between the islands.
So I can't
Here we
quite
go.
see
We got
who
somebody
that is
peeling
on
up.
the lead, but the lead boat tacking now. They obviously felt that they had control over the boats to the left of them, and the next risk becomes the boats on the right with a lot of leverage. So whoever that is, the windward boat on port tack there, I think they've got a nice handle on the fleet right now. Good control.
Yeah, they've got some good pressure and they're at good speed right now.
And the skippers, they're looking at the water, how dark the water is. You can see certain parts of the water are darker than others, which tends to indicate there's more wind in that area. So that's what they're looking at. And if you look at the way the wavelets are moving, you can tell when the direction of the wind changes just by observation. Some people are a lot better at reading the water than others.
Now, Scotty, do we have any current or tide to be worried about in here, or is it not really been a huge factor in your experience?
No, well, again, if you look in the background there's the breakwall off in the distance. And the gaps in the breakwall are very small and a long way away. So no, current is not something we ever really factor in on this particular race course. And my favourite one is, and it took me a while to get used to this, but anytime you go left in Long Beach and get past, the local comment comes back, oh, everyone knows you go right in Long Beach. Well, that is true. The breeze, as it builds during the day, it does clock right. But again, this particular race course, there's so many geographic influences to it. The oil island that we're looking at now, the freighters out there, the port to the right, and that's from a standard wind direction. If it shifts around a bit more, you've got the other oil island and breeze coming off the beach. So yeah, it really is the race course is a lot more random than you would think, and it really takes not just one set of eyes, but a full team paying attention the whole time to the changing conditions. But there was a long-winded answer to say no current.
We appreciate that. I think that the complexities of the wind is actually not well understood, and this is one of the things with the Olympics coming to Long Beach, the sailing event. It's going to be well worth the time to come and train and start to learn all those intricacies, which is, I know, what U.S. Sailing's Olympic team will be doing.
So here you go. Here's the first cross between the two leading boats in the fleet race. And so the boat on the right, on starboard, he came out of that okay. You have to remember, he did one more tack than the boat on the left, and they were almost, he's about one boat length behind, so that tells me that the right is becoming strong at the top of the course.
Indeed, that pressure did seem to fill a little bit there, and he's ahead. Got a nice mix of boats that went left and boats that went right, so it's going to be interesting downwind. It's going to be all on.
So remember, we're going the other way, guys. We're going around the marks the other way.
That's right.
I'm sure
racing it. You round them to the left.
Right. Everybody's heads are spinning as the boats are approaching. It's like, wait, how's this going to happen?
It is it is so funny. Each time I do a race immediately after Congressional Cup, Far 40 regatta or whatever it is, I keep saying to the team, please remind me that we're turning left, because I just spent the last 12 days in a row turning right, and it's not just one race a day; it's up to 6 races a day, and it's that is the different rule from fleet racing.
Well, you must be good at switching your head around, because you also have to do that with the way you drive your car. You're going to be in New Zealand driving on the wrong side of the road right now.
So let me give you guys a quick update on what we're looking at. So boat 6, for those of you who can't read it, boat 6 is Gilmore. And that was the guys that rounded first. And then, sorry about that, second we have Peterson. In third we have Durant. And there's a possible penalty. There's a little asterisk next to that update. In fourth, we have Kier.
Yeah, Durant's taking his penalty.
There's Durant doing his penalty.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. Yep. So there we go. Penalty's gone. So Durant was in third and no longer. Kier was in fourth. We have Wood in fifth and Maynell in sixth.
Yeah, so it's from what I could see, it was Jeffrey Peterson that got the best start. Gilmore tacked away to the right and had a little gain, and ended up, when they came back together, it was Peterson that was ahead, but Gilmore ended up laying the top mark. So a little bit of a gap from first and second back to third place. So those two will want to continue stretching on the fleet, and at some point,
interesting. Sorry, Scotty, to cut you off, but these two guys, Gilmore and Peterson, in the view, we're seeing one jibing away. So we had 2 crew members that had to miss today, and we have juniors from Long Beach Yacht Club on the boat with them as official crew. So Madison Monsoor is sailing with Jeffrey Peterson. Fairly cool. And then with Sam Gilmore, we got Jack Snow sailing, and they were also taking part in the Junior Congressional Cup that we did just a couple days ago.
Awesome.
That's fantastic. What a great opportunity. Yeah. Jinx.
So you were talking about...
nice job.
Yeah, you were talking about current inside the harbour. One way of telling, for those of you, if you look at the race committee boat, and if it's not lying head to wind, that can be an indication of current. So if it's slightly canted, it's pointing into the way the current comes. So a tip for you trying to read the water out there and which way the current's going.
So coming downwind, we're looking at Jeffrey Peterson on the right, and that was Sam Gilmore on the left. It looks like Peterson has rolled over the top. Jeffrey Peterson, ironically, with the LBYC spinnaker. I guess they couldn't come up with a Balboa Yacht Club spinnaker for the fleet race. Well, no, not permitted, I'm sure, but yeah, very good battle between these two teams, and so wonderful to see Jeffrey do so well in the main event, especially coming through FICA Cup qualifying. That's really a wonderful feat.
I'm sure you guys all noticed that vodka kite was inverted, so maybe Gilmore's team was out a little bit too late.
That's a good kite for them then.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I'm wearing my vodka Congressional Cup shirt today, so.
Awesome. The sponsors are pretty awesome. They are in for the long haul, and it's pretty impressive that all this stuff happens because of all their support.
I think that's a really important point, Molly. Can you run through the sponsors that have been here day in and day out supporting this really important race? Congressional Cup has just got a storied history throughout the United States, and it wouldn't happen without them.
Yes, that is so true. The kites have been flying every day showing them, which is great, and they're all out there on the water. So CZR Law, that's one of our sponsors. Farmers and Merchants Bank, Durant Construction, Dusty Durant, Port of Long Beach, the Long Beach Convention and Visitors Bureau, Stella Artois. We've got Seven Angels Cellars, the Grand, Belmont Athletic Club. We have Lock and Union Distillery. Distillery is always a high hit. And then obviously the Long Beach Yacht Club, the Club 100, the junior program the Junior Sailing Foundation from Long Beach Yacht Club as well.
Huge shout out to the sponsors. Thank you so much for your support for the sport and the sailors and the community, because this is an important event. That breeze is definitely picking up, Scotty. What do you think? Now favoring the right?
Yeah, so that's a good shot there. You can see the race committee boat still oriented to the left of the oil island. Again, how that is in relation to the top mark has a big effect, but as the breeze builds, you would expect the right-hand side of the racetrack to become strong. So how does that work into tactics? Well, okay, if you know you want to go right, that sounds simple enough, but how you get there can be a very different matter. So again, being close to the pier, there tends to be less breeze, and it's really all about the control of the start and getting the first cross, so that you can then choose which side you want to go. But that's a good shot there. You can see it's not quite white caps, but beginning to look a lot more tasty.
Yeah, we saw some kiteboarders out, which is a sure sign the wind is building.
Yeah.
Yeah, kiteboarding proving quite popular in Long Beach, and of course it's going to be the new Olympic class in Paris. Marseille is the location they're going to be sailing in for the Paris Olympics, and Formula Kite will be one of the new classes.
You can see in the screen right now, a kite and, what's going on. So obviously those four boats are all getting themselves, getting ready for racing. That is actually Yanni's team right there. They've got their kites up and running through some maneuvers.
Yeah, so the call we've got from the race committee, 7 knots of breeze out of a direction of 180, so it's still quite a lot of south in it there, Scotty. I think the general rules, if it's left of 180 you go left, if it's right of 180 you go right, and if it's 180 flip a coin.
Good summary,
so
Mark.
It's interesting. It was interesting. I believe it was it yesterday, Mark, when you mentioned Santa Ana's, and I don't know if they really came in, but certainly the direction was coming from downtown Long Beach. And we've mentioned before that to have Congressional Cup at this time of year is a little bit, well, it is unusual. It's out of the norm. Oh, there's a bad spinnaker set by one of the fleet racing boats there. Dropped it in the water. But go ahead.
Yeah, the air temperature sort of jumped about 10 degrees and then switched over to about 270, 280. And
so there's a luff from Sam Gilmore.
Indication of
yeah, sorry, Mark. We'll get back to that. So I just saw Jeffrey Peterson have a not a good spinnaker set.
Yeah.
Possibly dropped it in the water, but then recovered. As they were recovering, Sam Gilmore saw an opportunity to maybe luff Jeffrey and team, and they responded and recovered just in time to regain the lead. So there's the first three boats, and they're all quite close.
So we are actually going to jump really quickly. We have we're going to do a quick interview. Sorry about that. A quick interview with Yanni.
All right, Yanni. So talk us through your mentality and tactics for the finals. Is there anything you want to focus on?
Yeah, well, just being in the finals is an achievement for us. We're really happy to be there, and it's has been a very tough fight coming to that point. Of course, racing Taylor and his team will be a challenge, and in these light conditions, I think you will see us both fighting for getting off the starting line in a good manner. It's about finding the shifts, and it's about having the best speed mode in the boat. So I think everybody will work with that. So that's pretty much what it's about.
And with this new win today, a little bit different than the rest of the weekend, how are you feeling about it?
Oh, great! It's great. Always great to win, and you always need the point. As long as you get the points, so we can go and proceed in the event, we're happy. So yeah, we're happy about where we are now.
Beautiful. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, that'll be a fun finish for everyone.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's Sam Gilmore on the left with the Power Maui vodka spinnaker, and he thinks he can lay down there. Has he cut the corner on Jeffrey Peterson in the LBYC kite? It's going to be close. Certainly Gilmore coming down with a full kite and closing distance. You can see him soaking down really hard, but Jeffrey Peterson's spinnaker looking a little soft there. He might be struggling with gas. Very, very close indeed.
yeah, a VMG game, velocity made good, so Gilmore taking the shorter route, sailing the slower course, and Peterson sailing the long distance but faster boat speed, and it looks like he gets there first.
Yep, there goes Peterson's kite. He put the bow up quite aggressively there to get clear air. So it's definitely a gain to Gilmore.
Yeah, now it's a straight reach into the finish. Gilmore's going to have to...
Oh, that's the rounding mark there that we... yeah, just the background of the shot. So Jeffrey Peterson just squeaked her out in front, clear ahead of Gilmore. And that's the beautiful sight of all the sponsors' kites coming into the finish.
The
Boy,
Club
close
100,
finish, though.
It is really close. And the Club 100 folks, all of you upstairs there, right in front of you on the pier, I hope you guys are cheering loudly. Look at all those kites coming down. I love it.
Here comes Gilmore. May yet get a piece of Peterson. It's going to be a struggle from up there, but...
Oh, I hope we're loud up there on the pier.
Oh, and he looks like he's hanging on. He didn't get rolled.
So a win for Jeffrey Peterson. He'll be excited about that. He's the Rose Cup winner. He's the youth match racing U.S. champion. He's had a big summer out there, and third coming in.
Sam
The
Gilmore,
Club
second.
100 is Wood, who's the current youth match racing world champion as of about 3 weeks ago. He won that down in Balboa Yacht Club.
Nice finishes for our up-and-coming match racers.
So while we're watching, well, hello there, bedazzled cell phone. I love it. I love the spectators. It's all about you guys. I am going to we're going to take a quick break so we can regroup and get ready for our finals and our petite finals. We'll be back in just a few minutes. We are within our 5 minutes to the petite finals. They're up first. We're going to have
Can you hear me,
in
Katie?
yellow, boat 1. This is Monin going across the screen right here. And then in blue, entering in on blue, is Pool's team. You can see the graphic of the team names right here. The petite finals are the first to 2. And we have just entered into the box. And I believe we are dialing up. I don't have a view, but hey, maybe those guys on the pier, you guys can give me a heads up. A little cheer for this dial up.
This will be an interesting race because obviously both teams are going to be disappointed to not be in the finals, and they're going to be fighting hard to be able to be the third place and be still on the podium.
Yes, for sure. We're also getting a drone up now. There we go. Awesome. Okay, plenty of distance between them. We've got the blue boat a little bit forward. Scotty, are you back with us as well?
Scotty, can you hear us?
You know what? I can actually. Sorry about that,
hear
Katie.
Katie only.
Yeah, excellent. I am actually going to let you two talk for a minute through this one, and I'll check back in with you.
All right, Scotty, so we have a nice dial up. Looks like plenty of room between the boats. What are you thinking as the skipper on both boats?
Well, a lot of it depends on what you see up the track. You can see Burnson sailing in the background there. Looks nicely powered up. Tells me there's a bit more breeze. So there's the first boat bailing out onto port. And so it's Eric Monin leading the charge to the right, and Chris Poole doing a nice job of following there, Katie.
Yeah, he's close enough right now. One of the things he's going to be trying to do is make sure that boat 1 can't circle back at him and get him on starboard. So it looks like they're going to do the traditional head over to the playground where it's safe to spend some time, do some circles, try to catch your competitor, fellow competitor off guard.
And just as a reminder, hold on, Scotty, for just a second.
Oh, Scotty, just hang on a second. Scotty, Molly's jumping in for a second.
I know, sorry, that's right. We have a bunch of, who's listening to who, but as these guys are doing the flip back and forth, we've had a number of people just tuning in now that we're to the petite finals and the actual finals. Our guest commentators today, we have Katie Pettibone and Scotty Dixon.
Thanks, Molly. So we are heading back to looking at what's happening on the screen. We're in the first race of the petite finals. So there's no points on the board. We are looking at Monin in boat 1 and Poole in boat 2, trying to gauge their time and distance and time to the start. Go ahead, Scotty. What do we're not going to see some circling, I think, right now because it's just too light. And so it's more about lining up to who's going to get right and what they want to do. As you pointed out earlier, what do they see up the track?
Yeah, so you can see there, Poole very happy to hang high, and Monin not really able to get up to him from there, so surprised to see Monin veer off so early. It's hard to tell how much time there is to go, but Poole's done a nice job of keeping his separation to the right. It's probably about 10 seconds or less to go to the start now, and Monin clearly wanted the left there, Katie.
Yeah, I was surprised too that he didn't take one more tack and try to keep Poole out. But you're right. He just indicated he really feels strongly about the left and is sailing for the shift more than trying to lock Poole out. So we have started, and fairly clean start on both teams. Monin out quite far ahead, but Poole has some nice lateral separation.
Just as a reference, the breeze is set at 190. The race before, while we were in the semifinals, we were at 180. So we're seeing 190 at about 7 knots.
So Scotty, 190 at 7 knots right now. That is starting to move a little bit right now. So we should see more today, right?
Yeah, again, and you can expect the breeze at the top of the racetrack to be a little bit different than the bottom. Monin clearly on the back foot at the moment, so I would expect Monin to tack here sometime the next 20 seconds to shake it up a bit, and I'd be watching from a maybe dial down from Poole when he does.
Yes, we're now actually on board with Taylor here. They're just entering for their match as well. Taylor is yellow, obviously, and we can see Yanni's team in blue.
So there we go. We're going into a dial-up. Yanni to the left, and nice separation between the two. And Canfield in the controlling position at the moment, unless he feels that he drifts too close into Yanni. What do you think of that separation, Scotty?
Yeah, it's wonderful to have this onboard footage, isn't it? I mean, this really is a skipper's perspective. You can see Taylor Canfield in the foreground eyeing his opponent, watching Johnny's sails, watching Johnny's wheel. And I thought Johnny did a really good job of sucking up and minimising that separation. So Johnny looks pretty content to sit there. I think Taylor pointing, he might have been pointing to Johnny, he might have been giving his bowman instructions there. So you can see the bowman pushing the headsail from side to side, and that's really steering the boat because the boat has no boat speed, so we use hand signals to the bowman to control the bow in this situation.
That's right, because it gets pretty loud, right? With the sails flapping and the communication is key. The bow and so far up there. I mean, they're 37 feet long boats, but still it's hard to hear. So that putting your hand and then having them push the jib out where they want is key. Okay, so we see them both peeling off on port tack. Probably Taylor felt like he was getting a little close to Johnny, and so he wanted to just get the game moving out to the playground.
Bra jobbat gubbar, jättebra båthantering.
Yeah, and it's important not to underestimate how loud things get on board, and as you say, there's the flapping from the sails, but a lot of the team would argue that the
jävligt gott om vi kan komma in så att han inte kan jippa. Om man jippar nu så släpper vi honom.
True statement, true statement. All sailors would agree with that one.
Yeah. Waiting for Molly's come back on that one.
Ja, vi kommer jippa först nu.
I'll just remain quiet here.
Molly's pleading the fifth. That's right, but it's interesting when you... Go ahead, Scotty.
Just saying, Bernson chose to lead the drive there. That tells me Bernson really badly wants the left. So they're probably quite early to the pin here, but Johnny really fighting for the left-hand side of the racetrack. So
that's a really good point.
He had the option of taking the right, but he chose the left there. So this will be interesting.
Yeah, we have about a minute to go to the start, so he really did go early on that one, and it's going to move the game left down that line. So they must be really seeing some pressure on that left side. Coming up to like 45 seconds. Oh, thanks, Mark.
28, 27, 26.
So coming up on 20 seconds, we're splitting sides here. It's going to be an even start, probably.
And this will be a strong start for Taylor. This is very much a split tack start. but yeah, Taylor has all that separation to the right. You can see him just squeezing up and around the anchor of the committee boat there. So yeah, I think if Johnny wanted the left and took it from Taylor, there'll be a reason for it. So I would expect to see a reasonably big split here until either team gets the shift they're looking for to come back with confidence.
Yeah, this is pretty interesting. I mean, this kind of goes what we were talking earlier today, and what Molly and other commentators have talked about is, you know, you really want to cover your competition, and when you get far away, you're going to be in different breezes. So it's very high risk. And so, you know, I'm not surprised to see Taylor starting to think about heading back and checking in with his competitor.
Yeah, and there's one of two reasons for Taylor to come back. Either he didn't like the way things were heading, or he did get a favourable shift that he wants to cash in on. And a little bit difficult without the aerial view to see that. But yeah, you can expect. Yeah, so it looks like Taylor has rotated to the right and is looking reasonably strong from that angle.
Yeah, which would cover the angle change that we saw in the wind earlier, that 10-degree shift right. And if it's holding or even going to go further, he's going to look pretty good out there on the right.
Katie, I also want to let you guys know for the other match that's going, the Petite Final, we have Monin rounding in first. Tights are up.
Oh, great. So Scotty Monin rounding ahead of Mr. Poole on the first top mark rounding.
And I believe Monin took the left on the beat.
Ah.
Okay.
Monin taking the left. There we go.
So yeah. So for me, but look at that, Taylor coming back, and it looks like a 3 or 4 boat length lead to Canfield, maybe more at the moment. So maybe the left is okay, but Taylor Canfield definitely getting some love from the right in that instance. About it's close. About 2 boat length advantage to Canfield as they come together. You can see Johnny Berntson's jib just a little bit cracked there, so he's coming in quite fast.
Taylor's tacking on him. He wants to protect that right. So Johnny's out again.
2, 1, up.
Yeah, about a
but
1
close.
boat length advantage to Canfield. Yeah, and that interchange.
So this match right now, we've got Johnny Bernson, Taylor Canfield. This is the first race of the finals. Their first bow-to-bow touchback after the start, each choosing the other side of the course. So here comes Johnny coming back shortly, and obviously try to put more pressure on Canfield to get into the same breeze.
Yeah, so Johnny looks good there. He's powered up. We're just getting a little bit of the feed from on board now. It's Johnny Bernson sitting to leeward and sailing fast. So kind of surprised Canfield hasn't taken a step up unless he thinks he's on ley line.
Yeah, he must be getting something in that right corner. It does look from Johnny's boat that there's maybe a little pressure on that right corner. And here he comes back.
Yeah.
Här har vi något. Vi tjänar nu.
Down at the bottom, they're rounding.
Han har inte lej. Han kommer få ett svårt beslut här.
Go ahead, Molly. Molly's giving us an update on the Petite Finals. Go ahead, Molly.
Yeah, I was just saying that they're rounding the gates. Monin is around and is going off to the right and just tacked. Poole still got his kite up and is coming down, trying to get over to the other gate. Monin actually kind of got into his way a little bit on purpose, it looked like.
Solid move.
Yeah, exactly.
Although you can't do it overtly, because that would be wrong, right, Mark?
Absolutely. As long as you're sailing a proper course, that's quite legal.
That's right. So if you can make your proper course in their way, all is well.
And you often see them do that.
Okay, back up to the top mark meetup here for Yanni and Taylor. It's pretty close here.
That's right. So this is a close one, Scotty. I mean, you got Canfield rounding ahead, but I mean, Johnny is right on his tail.
Yeah, look at that. I thought Johnny might be in a tough spot there because he had a couple of tacks to do to get around the mark, where Taylor had a little more runway and a bit more speed build, but Johnny within 2 boat lengths and definitely within that distance where he's able to pounce on the next jibe. So in this position, we've seen a lot this week where the trailing boaters tended to jibe away. I don't think you'll see that from Johnny Burnson. Get ready for the fireworks.
That's right. So we see Johnny starting to soak so that maybe he can be on the wind of Canfield for that next jibe. Does look like Canfield extended a little bit, but I would expect Johnny to catch back up because the boat behind always gets the pressure first.
Yeah, beautiful shot of the spinnakers coming downwind. Saleratoire of Canfield on the right, F&M Bank of Burnson on the left, and the other 2 boats going upwind. And I'd just like to take the opportunity to give a shout out to everybody on the pier. And in case you didn't hear me before, I really miss being there at the event and seeing all my friends and being part of this wonderful event.
Yeah, next year, Scotty, we expect to be commentating about you.
Yeah, well, thank you. I've offered to do the event, helming and commentating at the same time. But Katie, you can be on the editing for that.
That's right. We would have to have a button that says mute immediately, right? And Mark would appreciate that as well because he's an Empire. He doesn't want to hear it.
Yeah, it's a nice view there. That's not a comfortable lead for Taylor, but as you said, coming into the top mark, it looked like he extended a little bit, and it's amazing when you have that speed build into the top mark, how far you can carry that down the run. So Johnny jibing now, and about 4 boat lengths.
And just looking at it, if they've spent about 80 to 90% of their time on the port jibe, and so a much shorter leg on the starboard jibe, which indicates the wind has gone to the right.
That's right, which is what we all thought was coming in. So it seems like it's finally there. So we would expect, Mark, right, a course change for that top mark.
Yeah, 10 degrees they may not, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it. So they'll have a C flag at the bottom mark with the color of the mark they're going to go to and multiple sound signals. So if we watch out for that at the gate mark, we'll see whether they change.
And of course for the crew, they'll be looking for it, although I can tell you that often it's so hectic and you're so focused on your competitor that you might miss that sound signal and the flag, which seems hard for anybody outside of the boat, but certainly it does happen.
It definitely happens. You try and always assign somebody that's their job and their only job as you're coming in, but inevitably it does happen.
Not seeing a mark set boat for the change of course, so they'll be going back to the same mark. Race committee's obviously happy with it.
Okay, so Taylor choosing the left mark and less maneuvers, and Johnny taking the other mark. Kite still up, going to hold that as long as he can. Oh, nope, jibing around it, he's taking the same mark. A little bit harder turn for him. He's going to be in a big speed build mode out of this. That's a little bit painful.
Yeah, so that tells me that this mark that Johnny rounded was that much favoured. And we saw this yesterday where the trailing boat had the opportunity to go to the other mark and didn't take it. And that
Vi är inte igång än, så kursen är
that
nästan
really
ner.
tells me that it is becoming quite right-hand favoured.
Om man
So
slår,
Johnny,
ska vi ligga kvar? Vi kan
you
ju
say,
leva
okay,
här.
we're 4 boat lengths behind. Let's not turn that into 6 or 8.
Ja.
Right. Because you want to keep the game as close as possible. There will be a time when they can maybe drag Canfield back to the middle or more to the middle if possible, but it's difficult when it's so right favored.
Yeah.
Nice breeze though. Okay, we see Canfield going into attack. It'll be a good check-in.
I don't know how you guys think that, Em, but it looks a bit lighter to me. You can see not everyone climbing up to the rail and just a very slow turn in the tack, and it looks a little bit quiet at times.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not filling in as quick as it has in the past. You see the trimmer still down to leeward, and another crew member hanging in the middle of the cockpit as the speed builds. And certainly Johnny, when he drives to leeward, is real indication of how light it is.
Mm.
Yeah, the forecast for today was definitely on the lighter side. We were looking at all of 6 to 8 knots for the day. Nothing really above 8 knots. So.
And now we see the kites coming down, so that those are going to show those guys what they're bringing, and maybe even affecting some of their air, which is unfortunate.
So just to introduce the umpires on this finals, we have Diego Ubero Forcada from España, umpiring with Kathy Lindgren. And on the wing we have Flavio Navarra, who is the chief umpire, and he from Argentina, and he is winging with Glenn Oliver from Santa Barbara, USA.
That is a great team. Scotty, you would know them very well.
Yeah, and if I don't know all of them, I suspect they all know me, but not necessarily, always agreeing with each other. But no, the umpires are a very valuable, integral part of the game, really. And yeah, it's very interesting. I think Mark mentioned earlier about debriefings, and just so important for skippers, particularly when they're learning to go along and understand what the umpires see, how the rules are interpreted, and just so important to see on the water situations from the perspectives that it's being judged by. It's the real key.
Yeah, it's always interesting.
Well, we're getting to the.
Sorry, it's always interesting. It's always interesting in the umpire room. We occasionally get competitors in who ask us somewhat leading questions to try and find out how we're looking at the rules and how we're thinking. Not that you do that, Scotty.
But hypothetically, if I did, yeah.
That's right. We do that in law school too. All right, so we have Taylor rounding ahead right now. He's at the top mark, bearing away. Clearly ahead of Johnny. Not a lot of action. It's pretty light air, so there's just it's a lot about getting the boat fast and going to where you think the next shift is. So, Scotty, if you're Johnny, what are you going to do here? I mean, you're kind of looking for a puff that Taylor can't get to.
Yeah, so the leverage that Johnny has right now downwind is all about it. I'd expect to see Johnny to set and probably jibe immediately here, because that's really the only leverage he has. The more he follows Taylor,
lite fegare med Lovak nu när vi kan komma ut.
Just got word from the weather mark. We're seeing oscillations up at the top. So it's shifting left and right at about 7 knots. As it goes right, the pressure increases. As it goes left, it decreases. So that's what the game is, trying to figure out where those oscillations are.
Yeah, and look in there, that's a fairly healthy advantage to Canfield and team. And we were saying earlier how tricky it is in the light air, and it's not about winning the start or winning the first lead, the second lead, or even the third. It's about staying close enough. You know, if you're not leading, just stay close enough. Try to stay out of phase with your competitor so they don't control you. So that on the last downwind, you're within 2 or 3 points, and then anything can happen. But boy, they're looking pretty light downwind there now.
You can see Johnny's team looking around for a breeze, where the next puff is. Taylor's just trying to bring the game back to the middle to make sure that Johnny doesn't have a chance to get away from him too far. But very light.
Yes, very light for sure.
Han är på väg, han ser någon by ute på högen, stämmer det? Nu har det plattat lite, har det inte det?
All right, so there we go. Taylor heading over to the left side of the course, looking if you're looking upwind, and Johnny just holding steady, trying to go VMG down and catch a break.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little bit of a prayer sometimes when it gets light, and time will tell. As an update for the other Petite Final, remember they are racing first to 2. Monin stayed ahead around the race course, so he has 1 win on the board.
That'll certainly help him mentally for the next race, and Chris will come back fighting hard, though. I think we'll see him be pretty aggressive at the start.
How aggressive, Katie?
You know, although it's light, I think he's going to throw everything at him because, you know, it's going to be Chris's do or die race. Look at the final here. Johnny didn't really catch a break down there on that the right side looking upwind. It's still far ahead for Canfield. So what are you thinking if you're Johnny, Scotty, for the next match?
Just like I was saying before, it's just so important not to, if you're not in control of the situation, just make sure you're not being controlled. So don't allow your opponent to box you out to lay line and then you know, push you back and give you gas. It's yeah, easier said than done. You know, Johnny's a wonderful pre-starter, and but it's also about minimizing mistakes, I think. So I just expect to see a tighter race, a closer race, and maybe a few lead changes.
That would be exciting. We would love that. I'm sure the peer would love that too. And here we go. Taylor taking first blood on the first race of the finals.
What are you looking for? Just, I guess, just finished match 1, and yeah, it was a good race win for us. So we're happy about that. I think we're sailing the boat quite well, and just going to keep working hard. The team's doing a great job. So a little bit tricky breeze at the moment. So always a little nerve-wracking, but overall, we're really happy with how everything's.
Strong here with yellow, and Monin has completed his tack. Wink, wink, nod, nod, Mark. And we're luffing right next to each other with the dial-up.
Yeah, the umpires for this match are Chris Lindsay from Ireland, David Blackman from the USA, and on the wing, Kirk Brown from the USA, and our chief umpire, Flavio Naviera from Argentina.
Yeah, Flavio is being the the chump, right? The chief umpire is, it's all on for you, especially if it, you know, at these World Match Tour events, it's all questions are pointed at you. You're at every press conference. You're representing an awesome team, but you know, he definitely gets the, if there are daggers, they come directly to him, and it's always hard. They're like the unsung heroes having the umpires out there.
Yeah, so match racing is an umpired sport, which means that the competitors have to ask if a rule has been broken, and then the umpires will let them know.
Yep, excellent. So Katie and Scotty, we're back in the action here. What did we? It's definitely lighter. You can see them doing a lot of rock and roll and trying to get the boat to get going.
Yeah, it's really light. Wow. I mean, that bearaway there after the dial-up was just looked painful. And here we go. This is the normal kind of standard circling that we see in match racing. If you get the guy behind trailing a little slow, that gives the other boat a chance to come back at him on starboard and maybe get a penalty. But it's rarely given. I mean, Mark, when would you ever give that? They have to be really ignoring keep clear.
Yeah, what we're looking for is if the boat has lined up or is aiming at the other boat, the right-of-way boat's aiming at the other boat, and they hold course, and the port tack boat or the giveaway boat does nothing, they get a lot of risk. They're likely to get the penalty, but usually they do just enough to keep out of the way, and they get the green flag.
So here we go down into the corner. Oh, go ahead, Scotty.
I was just going to say, moment of truth is Paul had the choice of which side he wanted there, and it looks like Monin happy to take the left side of the pin, so now Paul pushing back in gas with less than a minute to go. And plenty of time to kill, but you know, it's pretty clear which side Monin wants. So now it's a question of how much of the table scraps Paul has left for him at that end. So nice big luff by Monin. Might be jibs down. Still about 25 seconds to kill, but Monin clearly owning that left side of the starting line, guys.
Yeah, he definitely wants the left.
Worked for him in the last match.
Down. Yeah, that's right. How much time do you guys have it?
That was good.
That was it.
That was it. All right. It's a pretty even start.
It's another split tack start, but just the way that Monin manoeuvred towards the end there told me he really wanted the left. So I'm not sure if Paul chose the right, or if he just got the side that Monin didn't want. We will know at the first cross, and with it such a big split, it'll be pretty obvious if one side's paying.
So when you see the wind lighten up like this, do you find there's some lefties that come in, Scotty, in your experience?
There's a lot that goes into it, and even the drone shot there, I can see in the background, it's starting to burn off in the background, and it really depends on what you see coming down the track.
Yeah. Here, Scotty, I'm going to jump into you for a second. We're entering right here. We're on Yanni's boat, going for the dial-up.
Nicely dial-up by Yanni.
Håll full rulle. Cut.
Lighter, it's like everything slows down. Everybody wants to get quiet and calm. And, definitely taking your time, trying to keep your heart rate down, because obviously it's still amped up, but you know, you're smooth in the boat.
Är med det? Det kan bli spinnaker.
Okay, so you can hear Johnny talking about the spinnaker there, so if they peel onto port, you can expect one or both kites to go up.
Yeah, good call. We just saw him pull the foot of the spinnaker out to get it ready.
I don't speak Swedish, but I think spinnaker might be...
Komma bak lite grann med storen, backa stor. Lite grann. Så, räcker så, stötta där.
Oh, and here we thought you were an expert.
Backa. Ja. Cut. Direkt, ja. Hårt.
So about 2:35 to go, and you can see both boats backing, and Taylor trying to reduce that distance. Johnny is the windward boat who must keep clear, so you can see him maneuvering to exit the situation when he decides.
Kör. 2, 1.
Ooh, it's a close exit.
2, 1. Copy.
Looks like Taylor's also got their spinnaker somewhat ready, but maybe not as far.
1:50. Ja, split. Ja, han är väldigt stilla. Kommer här. Ja, vikt upp.
So Johnny's definitely got a lot more speed right now. He's going to come at them looking for that starboard to, as Mark was talking about, try to get a penalty on him, but Taylor's definitely reacting and getting out of the way.
Under honom, var beredda på det.
Yeah, nice job by Johnny. Picked the right side. Only a minute, less than a minute and a half to go now. And the longer they sit there, the less options Canfield will have. So it's Johnny kind of burning Taylor's clock at this point.
Och beredda. Vad vill vi starta?
There's the start.
Ha? Nej.
Both over early.
Ja, hissa.
Looks like that kite's going up on Canfield, and will we see it on Johnny's boat?
Johnny's move here would probably try and block Canfield returning to start, but I'm not sure he can get to him.
I think Canfield did a really good job there of getting his kite up and drawing. Johnny's still struggling a little bit. Oh boy, watch for the jibe here on Canfield. Expect some fireworks.
What a close start.
Yeah, Canfield has to give Yanni room to keep clear, so he has a limitation as to how quickly he can alter course.
Turn your boat! Hey!
Okay, we're staying right, had a little overlap, right? We're flying a flag, trying to make him tack.
Yanni didn't seem to be doing a lot there. It'll be interesting to see how the umpires on the water think of it. Yellow flag, yep. I think Johnny was not doing enough. We could see Taylor has to give him room to keep clear, but Bernstein has to do more to keep clear. He didn't do enough, so there was a penalty on Bernstein. Nice move by Taylor.
Yeah, that's a Johnny was really in the controlling position, and it was the small delay in the spinnakers going up. Johnny was about 3 seconds behind, so that enabled Taylor to get a 3-second speed build advantage that he then converted into that port starboard or leeward windward situation, and then the penalty. Nice job by Canfield and team.
Yeah, and I think 2 seconds earlier and Bernstein's going to be able to hold out Canfield from returning. He'll be able to stop him, jibe him, stop him getting back. So big change in control there.
Love all the info on the crew, right? We did a check-in to make sure we're going to the right mark. And then all this little chatter, it's just constant, right? And the driver's job is just to filter through and think about what's the most important piece.
and then also give feedback to the crew how the boat feels. As we heard Taylor, you know, talking about needing mainies and wanting speed. So it's
We could hear them yelling. I believe it. Motorboats causing a wake around them is my guess. It is a Sunday in Long Beach, right?
Yep, a lot of boats on the water if you can get out there.
Yeah, and of course they ask him to slow down, so he speeds up.
It's a big boat too, but
it is a big boat. My
piece of one piece of positive information coming from Taylor's boat. You know, they're whistling at this boat to get out of the way, and there's way. But then you hear Taylor say, talking about Johnny, said he's way slower than us. So again, it's all about your opponent and your relative speed.
So I think the powerboat's successfully given as bad a wake to both boats. He's now going across the front of Bernstein.
You're going to watch the choreography of doing attack. An update on the other match. Monin is ahead, rounded ahead. Look at that nice slow press. It is definitely a dance, the maneuvering of these big heavy boats, especially in light air.
And it's critical, right? The communication. You can hear the skippers doing a countdown and the crew talking about the movement together so that they get the most out of these boats.
Oh, sorry about that. I want a correction. Pool rounded ahead, guys. Pool rounded ahead for those at home and wondering. Pool rounded ahead for the first mark.
So it's game on in the other match.
Yeah, exactly. They're coming down to the gate right now. We have one of our pier cameras on that. You can see boat 1. Monin is rounding the right-hand gate. Right there. So Pool wanted to continue with the left, I believe.
Obviously thinking there's a little more pressure on that left side.
For those that have been watching for the last couple of days, it's such a different game today. It's we were looking at 10 to 13 plus knots for pretty much all of the racing the last couple of days, and now it's making sure you know your skills no matter what the conditions.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting for sailors because it's a little bit like driving on the highway and then coming off to drive on surface streets. The breeze and the boats and that pressure are just so much livelier, and so the menu of items you can do is bigger, where now it's light air, you got to move slowly, you got to be quiet, you have to really focus on that boat speed versus maybe a tactical thing you want to pull off.
Watching these guys come together. We're up at the top mark with Taylor. Again, look at this choreography as we go around.
Nice spinning cassette.
Looking about a 2.5 boat length difference. And you can see
that's right now they're oh, go ahead, Molly.
I was just going to give an update. So we've got Monin crossing the screen right there. Pool is off to the left. They're both on starboard, making their way upwind. And it was a close split. They're pretty bow to stern for those two guys. It's so fun to listen to these guys on board.
A little bit of chatter, huh?
Yeah, a little bit of... Let's clean up our comms here, people.
So a little differing opinion on the lay line, and that's going to be critical in this breeze. Extra jibes are going to be really costly.
Right, our angles get a little tighter, right? The lighter it gets, and you get any more down speed, the higher you need to go, and a lot of things factoring into it. Scotty, can you sense the tension in Taylor's voice?
I can sense the tension. I can hear the tension. It's the communication is, for lack of a better word, it's sounding a little snippy on board.
Okay, we're going for a jibe. The best is for those that aren't normally in match races and able to hear this, that every skipper would probably say, I never do that. What do you mean? I was just using my regular voice, and I was, there was no tone change and no volume change. Total, not denial, just total maybe unawareness.
This is my happy voice, this is my happy face.
Yeah.
So the tension's always going to be high because the boat from behind brings pressure, so they will have gains, and that it just increases that pressure on the leading boat, which I think we're also seeing a function of.
Yeah, exactly right, Katie. It's not that things are going bad on Canfield's boat, but it is an indication that Burnson's right there and breathing down their neck.
Yeah, exactly, and he's looking to Canfield keep his breeze ahead, and for those on the pier watching, they're really hoping that they can get Stella's kite to bobble, right? As soon as that kite starts to bobble a little bit, that's a good indicator that they're touching him. So heading down, going through his breeze, you'll see it bobble as he jives behind him. Oh man, we got a little disagreement on the boat. This is I tried to warn them at the press conference last night that we'd be listening to them.
But you know what, that's really good for everybody is that even at the high levels, there are disagreements. People see things different on the boat, and so having a communication stream that is practiced for any boat, whether you're racing just occasionally on the weekend or at the top levels, is really important.
3, 2, 1, go take.
Nice to have a runway going into the mark.
Yeah. With this breeze, you really want to have a nice slow turn and keep that speed.
It's not quite on the screen, but once we, if you could see the big picture, Monin actually moved ahead. Was able to pass Poole on the beat and rounded at the top first.
Wow.
Still looking pretty close to the top of the course. Poole looks as though it's maybe one boat length in there, so he may be able to get a piece of Monin on the jibe. There they are, they've both jibed, simultaneous jibe, and we might well see a luff coming from Monin if Poole's got a piece of him, which it's certainly looking as though he may have.
Yeah, I would expect to see a little bobble based on what we're seeing in Monin's kite.
Yeah, tension chute could be high on those boats.
Well, certainly for Poole and Monin, that's the do or die race. So Poole's got to be throwing everything at the wall to get him.
Hur känns vi? Har vi något? Han går hela vägen, eller?
Okay, Scott, you're Swedish telling, or you're Scandinavian telling us here.
Yeah. Jag heter Scott.
Han låg, då blir han hög sen, eller?
I can hear Johnny and the team talking about lay line and whether or not they go all the way. And it's such a big split right now that they've just got to stick to their guns and and go for gold. So looking at the pictures, the pressure on the left looks good, but it's hard to get a perspective from both boats at the same time. But Johnny using the one draw card he has, which is leverage and separation. Could be good, could be bad, but let's see how the top goes when they come together.
Yeah, looking at the feed, one of the feeds we have, I think Taylor has just tacked, so he's maybe deciding he doesn't want to let Bernstein go out too far. There we go, you can see Taylor coming across.
That is a lot of separation.
Yeah. That'd make me nervous.
And you only need a little wind shift when you have that much separation to make huge gains or losses.
Ja, men vi har inte kommit igång än.
In the light air, everything gets amplified, right? So one extra knot of breeze is a drastic difference to your boat, and extra distance
Inte hårdare än så, i alla fall. Den stora ser jag inte. Om vi är något så är vi i alla fall... Ska vi alltid vara till lösa hållet. Här har vi bra. Har vi lej, det har vi inte.
There's a coming down to the finish.
Och vi får en mota här också dessutom.
Yeah, so from that perspective you can see Canfield steadily moving ahead across the horizon. That tells me he's very comfortable crossing Bernstein with still quite a bit of separation. So looks like Canfield in the correct side upwind.
Yep, we'll be probably rounding ahead and then making sure that he stays close in the same space of water as Johnny, right? So he doesn't get a different breeze, different shift that'll get him ahead.
Han har ungefär samma avstånd, va? Skulle jag säga. Eller vi har tjänat något. Eller? Har vi inte det?
The pass on the upwind, got around at the top, and these guys did a little dance, you know, a couple jabbing back and forth, but congrats to Monin here.
All right, so our third place finisher is Mr. Monin. Newly married with his wife.
Yes, trimming the main on the boat with his brother on the bow. So awesome.
So look at the boats just pounding into those waves, coming into the top mark there, and I'm surprised that obviously Taylor was in control of the beat, but Johnny Bernstein is just hanging in there. He's about 4 or 5 boat lengths back. Ready?
Yeah, it's a lot closer than I thought. That's good for us spectators.
Yep, so Bernstein's carrying a penalty, so he's got some work to do on this downwind leg. So the penalty, just as a reminder, was during the pre-start, when they were coming back to start. Bernstein was the windward boat. The windward boat has to keep clear under Rule 11. Canfield was to leeward, and Canfield is limited on how quickly he can alter course. But the umpires determined that he had made a change of course that allowed Bernstein to keep clear, and Bernstein was slow to respond, so he gets the penalty. So that was the penalty.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's anything happening on the course that Bernstein can probably pull a rabbit out of his hat to get up there to Canfield, unless he has a terrible jibe or something.
Yeah, you can see from this shot he's sailing a track slightly to leeward of where Canfield is. So when Canfield jibes, he'll try and get on his breeze. But let's hope get enough of his breeze that he brings him back in, but not much racetrack left at this point.
Okay, Nisse.
It's funny with we probably said that 70 times in the last 4 days, and strangely enough, it was enough. You know, and they could get back in the race, and so that is, I'm sure, what everybody's still saying, right? On board, they're still saying, yes, you know, we're comfortable, but we're not. You know, we gotta keep racing all the way down to the finish.
That's definitely one of the great truths of match racing. It's never over till it's over.
Kommer vi här, vikt upp.
So again, the finals, it's first to 3. So, we'll see how this finishes up. But we're still gonna have another race or two left for these guys, and our fingers are crossed for our breeze to continue cooperating.
Yeah, you can see that move by Bernstein. He jibed on top of Taylor, trying to get his breeze. There's probably 4 boat lengths to Lewis. So, the wind shadow you throw lessens the bigger the gap.
Men det ändrar sig så hela tiden när det är så långt avstånd.
In light air, it certainly makes bigger difference. He still has the ability to affect them, but it certainly would be a lot helpful if there wasn't so much lateral separation.
Vi kör i alla fall ett båtbyte. Det tror jag är...
Yeah, he's asking for the ley line to the boat.
You can see that it's gone a little bit quiet on Bernstein's boat, and you see the closer they get to the finish, they just realise that it's time to let that race go and start focusing on the next one. Yeah, it all came back to that pre-start, didn't it, where it just seemed that Taylor tacked all away an immediate hoist. It seemed like there was some indecision on Bernstein's boat as to whether or not they should hoist or not, because they were that much closer to the starting line. So yeah, it was a nice pounce and overtake by Taylor in that moment.
Yeah, I think that 2 seconds made the difference between whether Bernstein could stop Taylor jibing and getting it right away and not. If it had been, I think, 2 or 3 seconds earlier, it would have been a very different match. A game of inches.
Definitely a game of inches. So Scotty, in that particular case, when you're sailing with your crew, do you have an automatic rule, like watch them, match them immediately, so you don't have that kind of delay? It seems like if Bernstein had told those guys, if they're going, we're going, it would have been quicker.
So, is there a hard and fast rule? No, but what you really try to do is keep thinking ahead the whole time. So if he does this, do we do this? And be thinking 10, 20, 30 seconds ahead. And that's where the discipline and the challenge comes, is when you get in these close boat-on-boat situations, you tend to bring your focus in closer and closer, and sometimes you lose that forward planning ability in the moment. So in that situation, I would be expecting both teams to say, okay, there's 40 seconds to go, we're thinking this, 30 seconds to go, we're thinking this. And like I said, it was a difficult spot for Johnny just because he was that much closer to the line, so maybe didn't need to have the kite up as long. So maybe that's why there was a delay in the hoist. Or yeah, tough one. So no hard and fast rule, but as long as the team is looking ahead the whole time, you tend to get a little more information and hopefully just make a slightly better decision.
Tell us about the penalty.
Yeah, it's an exciting pre-start. You know, we were a little bit against the ropes, but you know, coming back to the line, we obviously had a great spinnaker set and got the boat going really well. And you know, we actually set right on his breeze. I think he actually made an error, you know, driving around and setting, so we ended up right on his breeze. So you know, we're happy to take that win, and came back at him on starboard in the pre-start, and were able to get a small hook, and he definitely wasn't keeping clear. So umpires agreed.
How do you feel at the end of this race?
Yeah, it's good. You know, I think we're sailing the boat really well, and our goal is just to keep getting better. So, you know, we're having a little debrief about what we did well and what we did bad, and you know, we're looking forward to the next one. It's great to be in a 2-up position now.
Yeah, well, I think there was like a penalty that could have gone either way. He was really, really close to our stern and was pushing us all the way up, and
we were returning boats for the pre-start and OCS start, so we tried to just avoid a collision. If I would steer more, we would have hit him. If I would steer, I needed to steer that as less as we couldn't be in contact with them, and then we go roll into attack. So I think the penalty was a tough one, but it didn't affect the outcome of the race. I mean, they were having the lead, and we need to pass him before we can take the penalty anyway. So just go for the next one.
Good luck on the next one.
Thanks.
Both looking to be on time, so this should be a really close dial-up.
Attacking in 2.
Taylor entering with starboard is going to be controlling.
Yanni is swinging it and going for it right behind. Wow. Jumping right into the action, Scrappy, huh?
You got to have a lot of confidence in your boat speed there. But smart move for him to shake it up, and I think hopefully that is the indicator of him attacking this match right now. Again, it's do or die for him, and he really wants to take one off the Stars and Stripes team. All right, Anna, so you're pushing from behind. What are you looking for right now? What would you be looking for?
So I think you're looking for like a controlling position, like making sure that basically you've had a decision beforehand whether you're going to lead back to the line or you're going to push back to the line. Given that it's lighter conditions, generally you're probably going more for the lead back, so you have a little bit more control of the tailing boat. And then you're just kind of working on your timing and positioning and getting into that position so that you have, the correct position and the correct time to kill so that you can execute your game plan as you lead back towards the start line.
We've got the pier exclusion zone, which the teams have gotten very adept at knowing exactly what the timing and distance from that to the race lane, the starting lane, I should say.
That's a big duck back behind.
Yeah. Bernston coming after him.
He really is. He is feisty. He, sends it at the dial-up, forget it. And Taylor has been pretty confident with that edge of that exclusion zone all week, so I'm sure he wasn't necessarily expecting him to send it out there.
I think it's a great play to do too, to catch somebody off guard, right? Because so many times you kind of get into a routine and you're like, okay, they're going to do this, if I do this, and then you throw in a move like that and you're like, oh, right, quick recalculation of what my plan is, because positioning's all different than what I thought it was going to be.
And that's the fun part about match racing, right? Is like the ability to throw a curveball. So we're looking at about 145 almost, and still pretty light. So Anna, what are you thinking about as you're leading towards the line if you're in Canfield's position?
Yeah, I think your game plan, right, is to be tight to leeward, yeah, so you have that full controlling position. So where he is there, he's got, I think he's got Yanni hooked just to windward of him, right? So has the ability to control his speed, control when the acceleration happens. Just as long as you keep his bow hooked, you're in control of that start. If he gets his bow free, then it makes it a little bit more open and, can allow him to go for a potential speed build, hook if you mistime it.
Yeah, I think we're
you're really listening to your crew.
Yeah, we hope so. We're about 25. The clock on the screen might be a few seconds off. I think we're at about 25 seconds according to our watch. A little delay, but again, time to the line. Not sure. It feels like both these guys are. Taylor's definitely a little bit early here.
It does look like that, but he's got a nice runway to build going to the right, which seems like that's what he wants. Team Bernston will have to tack. They're not making the line, and they'll have some runway to build too.
A little jib, please. Bear, do normal, please. Copy.
Yeah, he's tacking at the line, and that's definitely a.
Yeah, copy.
That was a little bit late there for Yanni, and obviously having to tack, but we've seen today, right? It doesn't, and in the last couple of days, it doesn't really matter exactly the lead you have. It's Every little inch matters.
Do you want me to stay in a slightly high mode?
Definitely looks like a little more breeze. We've got this onboard shot, and everybody's sitting up now, which, you know, in the prior race we had, you know, people leaning in and the trimmer actually down to leeward. So this could be a little bit more interesting, especially if it's close, because I think they've got a little more pressure to throw things at each other.
Yeah.
It looks like a tiny bit of a left, if I'm not mistaken, but it's hard from this angle to know exactly. But good pressure. So Anna, when would you drag it back to the middle of the course, or would you just go to a lay line if you could?
Mike?
Yeah, it's going to depend on what you think your positioning is. I think relative to the other boat, you know, if you think you have a clear cross on them, then I think you could get up to ley line and be okay. If you think that they're going to have a solid piece of you, meaning they're going to be able to plant a good lee bow, you know, you're not going to want to maybe get to the edge quite so soon, because if you can't hold on their hip, it's going to be a little bit slow, basically, going into the mark. So, you know, there's probably a constant communication going on of, yeah, we're still good, we have a cross, or, you know, the gains and the losses that are going on, and that really, I think, should influence that decision.
Yeah, it looks like from this angle that Johnny's got some good speed. I mean, he's not, you know, again, from the angle, it looks like he's gained a little bit, but, you know, that's a tough one to, you know, it's all angle dependent on where you're looking. Molly, any thoughts there? You're probably looking at a bunch of different angles.
I am. I mean, I don't think he was comfortable living up on his hip, you know, and I would bring it back into the middle. Taylor's definitely pretty strong and in control up here, and it almost looks like they're bow even, you know, and there's a significant amount of lateral distance here, so.
Yeah, Taylor able to just tack and do the loose cover, which is a very comfortable place to be. And so if you're Taylor, Anna, would you go maybe a little fast forward to try to make sure that your bow goes forward a little bit more and maybe give away a tiny bit of that lateral, or would you just keep that lateral as much as possible?
Again, I think you're having a conversation of what's ahead, how you're feeling. You know, he looks like he's in great pressure up there, great angle. At that point, just keep moving forward on your opponent. I mean, it looks from here, it looks like a slight angle difference, pressure difference between the two. So I think at this point, Taylor's just charging and just going fast around the race course, and just keeping it clean and simple.
Looks like getting a little bit more breeze, right? Heading up to the high side. Yeah, and you know, Taylor is going to, you know, get the benefits of getting puffs first on the upwind and gain, and of course that reverses on the downwind. So here we go, we're getting to the top mark. Taylor's rounding, getting that pull back, and it looks like a pretty nice set.
Yeah, careful.
Nice set by Canfield.
Yeah, definitely.
Clear ahead with a lot of separation.
What do you think about an early
nice drone shot showing you the overhead.
One, here we go.
Yeah, better breeze jogging.
All right, Anna, you're in Johnny's boat. I mean, looking for anything here. What are you thinking about?
Oh yeah, we're looking for anything. You know, I think it's
one.
I mean, yeah, he's going for it right there, right? Like try and get that jibe on top. It looked like Taylor maybe a bit down speed, and you try and go position on him. You're just trying to, at this point, close the gauge, right? You're not looking for a passing move yet. Just close it up, get in a position where you can make it a match, so you can do something from there. So focusing on sailing fast, and keeping the other boat guessing and on their toes.
A lot of communication, right, between the driver and the trimmer. It's just kind of constant back and forth.
Constant dialogue, isn't it? Like there's always something being said, and you know, only the most important things are said. keywords, key phrases, just to keep it simple for everybody on board, so everybody's on the same game plan.
So for the viewers who don't know, Molly and Anna did a Olympic campaign together in match racing. So, you know, they have a lot to say about that communication loop.
That is very true. I was kind of smirking there as I'm like, what communication did we share with each other, Anna? But I will say on my part, it was, yeah, so I was trimming, obviously, and Anna would be driving, and it's just constant of, hey, I'm good, I can head down, feeling a little bit light, a little up a little bit, yep, good there, happy to head down, and literally it's like you never stop talking, kind of like, you know, commentating for match races for a couple days in a row, but you talk, and as soon as the only thing you're listening to is, you know, driver Anna saying, got it, heading up, or okay, no, I'm going to hold, and if the driver's going to fight, you know, not fight, but disagree with whatever the spinnaker is telling you, then you say in your head, okay, great, I'm going to make it work for what we have to do.
That's right, and that's a key distinction is, you know, the driver's feeling what the boat feels like through the helm, but also there's strategic reasons where it might be really slow, but you really want for positioning to go lower, even though it's not optimum. And so we're getting to the leeward mark, and Camfield's got kite down, and they're going to round this this mark, heading out to the left. It looks like. Looks like there's some nice breeze up at top, but it's definitely light at this gate.
I like it too. 3, 2, 1, tack it. Okay, just a little slow, but.
Okay, kite coming down on Johnny's team.
Again, we saw that
and
onboard
just a straight
shot.
turn.
Yeah, look at that nice straight shot. But the last shot with Taylor going around it, it's always kind of funny to watch the person like basically just grab the kite and jump out of view. You know, jump down below and stuff it away, and then we're gonna see him in another, you know, 2 boat lengths.
That's right. Get that thing away and let the upwind trimmer trim the jib. Or Genoa. So I think we're going to see this again. We're going to have a similar path where Camfield's going to be able to throw this loose cover, which is what we see at some stage, just so he doesn't get run out to the lay line. We should expect to see Team Bernston bring the match back a little more to center, and here they go.
Exactly, trying to keep the game alive. The more you get over to an edge, you're taking away any opportunities for action to happen between the 2 boats. If you're in the center of the course, you just have a bigger playground. And again, the communication and what these guys are thinking about is when you've crossed someone's line and if you're going to tack bow even, or if you'd like to be on their line when you tack, all depending on what side they want to protect. And obviously the leader gets to choose that, and the trailer is basically just hoping to mess you up on attack or get you to extend, hopefully on a header going upwind.
Yeah, a little more breeze, we'd probably see a lot more tacking. Oh, go ahead. Yeah,
Molly. Exactly. I was just going to say, Anna,
easing, sorry. Overdone it. 2,
back and forth,
1,
and there's the
and
information
press.
that's being given to you by your tactician and the
He's
sail
come back.
trimmers that are talking about speed. How are you deciding if you listen to the people in front of you or you do what you want?
You always listen to the people in front of you.
Such a good answer. Scotty would have said the same, and everybody was laughing.
Yeah, you know, it's not. Yeah, the skipper's the one that pulls the tiller, or in this case, turns the wheel. But you know, there's someone else on board that's, you know, having that discussion with you, and as a group, collectively, everyone's on board with, hey, we're riding them to this side, or we're slamming them in the middle. You know, and I think obviously the leader's always wanting to kind of get them to the side, so it's pick which side's the easiest side to get them to, and get them over there as fast as you can.
Stand by. 3.
Yeah, and you can see it's gotten this onboard shot. It's definitely lighter. You've got people sitting to leeward, you know, not coming to the high side, and big coordinated rolls. So it's definitely that breeze we saw at the start is kind of evaporated a little bit. Doesn't give many passing lanes in that case.
Nice pressure here, Mike.
So this drone shot, really a nice angle. There's some, you know, Johnny's bringing some good breeze in, but Canfield looks still well ahead.
Yeah, ease, Max, too much.
Yeah, we got about a boat length to the mark for Taylor. Yanni has he's below the ley line on starboard by about a half a boat length, so he'll have a little bit of room as he tacks around it. We've seen the kite go up on Taylor's boat. Team Stars and Stripes getting that kite flying. Bernstein Racing has about a boat length or so before they're going to tack. You're going to start seeing their bow turning now.
Yep, and here we go. Bearing away around the mark. Kite coming up. Big lead for Canfield right now. It would take a lot, but you never know. I mean, again, I've been on the boat that lost a massive lead, bigger than this, in the America's Cup Citizens Finals. So, never say never.
Okay. Coming up too, a little right side way.
So Anna, anything you're thinking about? You're trying to sail hotter, lower, maybe trying to get them to drag the course out a little bit longer? Because right now it's just a straight, you know, go to the finish line, and it's easy for Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor has a good position here. Yeah, I think Team Bernstein is trying to do anything and everything, try and draw them close to the middle, just like on the upwind. You know, try and draw them into boat handling things, try and draw them into mistakes. That's how you're gonna, you know, catch them. If you just sail straight line, boats generally go in the same speed, right? So
I just don't want to sail low and
try and make them make a mistake and capitalize on it.
Going super low here.
Okay, I think
both these teams have really sailed so smoothly for the last few days, and it's impressive to watch them adjust to what a different day today was.
I think we're probably we're in front of
them already, right? Definitely a slowed down game today, and you can see on the screen for those at home a list of who's making that boat go.
Yeah, because this is obviously big lefty, so.
Definitely a top crew right there. I mean, some wonderful talent in all the positions. So, you know, Taylor has really put together a good team representing Stars and Stripes, and has sailed well from day one. He was ahead and top in the round robins, and now he looks like, you know, provided something happens, it looks like he's going to be sailing to the win of the finals.
What an awesome feeling, huh? It's just amazing. I mean, to lead every single day.
Coming down to just aim at the pin.
The board, the results board every day shuffled like crazy. People, you know, sitting comfortably, sitting back. But these two guys from day one have been right there towards the top, and showing today, Taylor and team are definitely cream of the crop.
And blazer number 5.
Blazer number 5 for Taylor. My goodness.
Breaks the tie with several other great skippers.
Yeah, for you?
That's awesome.
Yep. And you can see the celebration starting.
I love it. The pier going nuts. There's the yellow flag. High fives and hugs all around. Such an awesome feeling.
Well done, Stars and Stripes. Well done.
Come on, Leo, bring it in. Your wheel.
So awesome. I love it. A little bit of shaking your head and, you know, see Victor, oh my goodness, we did it. And we can, you know, relax and start the party. And Yanni coming across the line again. They were up there sitting in the 2 spot the entire time, and, you know, taking huge wins off. And obviously today's a tough one, but nice. They're such sportsmen. I love it.
Real class act. Bernstein Racing did well. I mean, they got second at Congressional Cup, which is a phenomenal achievement. I mean, looking at some of the who's who of racing that's been here and have never gotten second, they certainly should be proud, and they sailed well.
So currently, I am working with the U.S. radio squad. And we're currently in Newport training and heading down to Florida shortly as we prep for our World in Oman.
George, come down to learn.
That's great. And you're laying the groundwork for the winners of the gold medals in that class for 2028, hopefully, Long Beach.
Hopefully, yes. It's a great squad. The girls all work really hard, really talented, push each other. So every training session is really good.
Thank you.
That's fantastic.
Look at the shot of the pier. That's the place to be. We've got Club 100.
That is. We need to get over there.
I know, and get the party started. Tons of clapping. And, oh yeah, we've got people swimming.
Aha!
And see ya. Start swimming.
Don't push your
Oh, love it. All the clapping and pictures and beverages. I love it. Arm fists in the air.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Huge congratulations to Taylor Canfield and the Stars and Stripes team. This is, you know, one of many things I think we'll be seeing in the next year or two from this team as they compete around the world on a variety of boats.
Yeah, and also the, you got back on board. That's good. Doing a little cheers to each other. I love it. You know, our sport, they just spend 5 days trying to kill each other, and at the end of the day, it's still hugs all around, and you know, good battle, guys, and pat you on the back, and let's go celebrate on land. It was finals day at the 56th Congressional Cup at Long Beach Yacht Club, and spectators were out early to enjoy the close-up action and the beautiful Los Angeles weather. The semifinals were finally poised after yesterday's battles, with Sweden's Yanni Bernsten and USA's Chris Poole tied at 2 wins each, while the world #1 from Switzerland, Erik Monnen, and his team were trailing 4-time Congressional Cup winner Taylor Canfield. With both of these matches sailed together in the light wind conditions, it was Bernsten and team who took the lead after inflicting a pre-start penalty on his opponent and sailed away to advance to the final with a 3-2 winning margin, while Taylor Canfield drew on his experience to beat Erik Monnen, sealing a 3-1 victory to move into his 5th final here. With two hugely skilled match racing teams facing off in the final, both of whom are former Congressional Cup champions, it was expected to be a fiery encounter. Straight to the battle, and with 3 wins needed in this final, it was Canfield and his team who scored the first point after outmaneuvering the Swedish team, cruising home with a clear lead. In match 2, an incident in the pre-start dial-up saw the Swedish team penalized by the umpires, and that was game over, as Bernsten and his team were always playing catch-up, as Canfield left them behind to give him a 2-point lead in the final. Bernsten now needed to win the next match to stay alive. With the pressure on, Canfield took control of the pre-start, leading away across the line, taking the right, and once again it was the Americans who were quicker up the course, again sailing away. They couldn't afford any mistake in this light breeze, though, as Bernsten used all his skills to gradually start to close the gap through the race. But it wasn't to be, and the years of match racing that Canfield and his team have accumulated meant they stayed safe and clear, cruising home to secure a 3-0 victory and take the title once again. And so, Taylor Canfield and his team Stars and Stripes become the first to win this magnificent trophy, which is soaked with the greatest names in sailing history, for the 5th time.
Yeah, you know, I think that we stick to our plan, and the goal is to always get better throughout the week. So the guys kept working hard, and we had some really hard moments and some tough debriefs about how we can get better. And, you know, I think that makes us stronger in the end. So we just keep pushing and keep working on our boat speed. And, you know, I think that showed this week that we were definitely the fastest boat out there. And I think as long as we were, you know, decent getting off the line, we're in pretty happy shape.
And with it comes the coveted Crimson Blazer, awarded to the winning skipper, rounding off yet another sensational Congressional Cup regatta.